So you got the gear, and you want to start photographing wildlife. Where do you start?
The first and most obvious answer is location. You want to go where the wildlife is. As you can see today, I'm at a wildlife preserve with some marshlands, but it provides some pretty decent opportunities to get some wildlife shots. So you have to do some research on your local reserves. Look up some reviews, look up the photos that have been taken there. What kind of wildlife is there? Also pay attention to the time of year, because it does matter. You don't have to go to a wildlife reserve, but it's a great place to start, especially if you're just starting out. That's because the habitats are well maintained and suited for the wildlife. They tend to be a little more concentrated, more predictable, and easier to find. Another tip is timing. It really does matter what time of day you're out and looking for wildlife. Certain animals are only active at night, some are only active in the afternoon, but a vast majority, especially with birds, tend to be a lot more active around dawn and dusk. So getting out early or late, really depending on what you're trying to shoot, is very important. I have noticed, and I've had a lot more success with getting up early and getting out right around sunrise time. There tends to be a lot more activity around that time, and as the day creeps more into the afternoon, the activity seems to die down a little bit. So maybe it's just get your butt out of bed. The third thing is, wildlife will teach you patience, whether you like it or not. Sometimes you just have to sit and wait for that opportune moment. If you get impatient and you start moving around and you just can't sit still for a minute, you're probably going to miss some opportune moments. I do like to walk around a lot when I'm doing photography. There are definitely some times I like to sit and just wait. That's usually when I come across a very well-lit scene or hear something off in the distance. Sometimes I'll just sit for 10, 20, 30 minutes or more, just waiting for that opportune moment. Sometimes you have to do this. It's not always going to work out, but if you don't do it, you'll miss the opportunity. Probably one of the most important things to remember is don't get discouraged. Wildlife photography is hard. It is one of the most challenging types of photography, and I know a lot of people walk into it thinking it's going to be easy, even myself who have done photography for years. But I can honestly say that wildlife photography is one of the most challenging types of photography. However, it is very rewarding when you can get it right. There have been plenty of times where I've gone to great locations at the right time of day and had some beautiful weather with some expectations of getting some great opportunities, only to come home empty-handed or with some mediocre shots. And that's okay. It's going to happen, I promise. The important thing is that you're making yourself available for these opportunities. If you ever watch some of these wildlife documentaries and are amazed at some of these beautiful shots they get, if you look behind the scenes, a lot of them take weeks, months, or even years to film some of these even 20-second sequences. And that's because it takes a lot of dedication. It takes being out there and making yourself available for these opportunities. If you want to get into wildlife photography, it does take some dedication. You got to spend some time doing some research on your locations and the wildlife itself and learning about its habitats. And then making yourself available for those opportunities by just being patient. And then if it doesn't work out, don't get discouraged, because at the end of the day, we're just out enjoying nature.